For decades, the middle class was the group that held countries together. They were the teachers, office workers, shop owners, nurses, and small business families who could afford a home, raise their children, pay for healthcare, and save a little for the future. But today, in country after country, ordinary people feel something changing. Costs keep rising, paychecks do not grow fast enough, and the fear of falling behind has become universal. Many families now ask a simple but painful question. Are we still middle class, or are we slowly slipping down the ladder? This video explores why millions of people across the world feel squeezed, what is driving these changes, and what it means for the future if the middle class continues to shrink. The middle class is usually defined as households in the middle of the income range. People who earn enough to meet normal life needs without being rich or poor. For most of the 20th century, the middle class was expanding. People believed each generation would live better than the one before. But now, in many parts of the world, that confidence is fading. Many researchers say the middle class is not disappearing in every country, but the pressure on it has become stronger than ever. In several rich countries, the share of people in middle-income groups has stayed flat or even shrunk slightly. At the same time, the wealth of top earners has grown much faster, creating wider gaps between ordinary workers and the rich. Even in places where the middle class is growing, especially in some developing countries, people often feel insecure because the cost of living rises faster than their salaries. One of the biggest signs of this squeeze is how costs have changed compared to incomes. Housing prices and rents have gone up far faster than median wages in many cities. A typical middle-class family often spends half their income just to keep a roof over their heads. Buying a home feels out of reach for younger generations, even when they have good jobs. In many major cities, families who could once dream of buying a house now struggle to rent a small apartment. Education and healthcare have also become major sources of pressure. Parents save for years, take loans, or cut back on other needs just to give their children a chance at higher education. Healthcare costs show a similar pattern. Even middle-class families fear sudden illness because a medical emergency can erase years of savings in a week. Because of these rising costs, middle-class households save less than before. Many depend on debt to maintain the lifestyle that once came naturally to their parents. To understand why this is happening, we must look at the major forces reshaping the global economy. One key factor is globalization. Over the past few decades, many factories and mid-skill jobs moved from richer countries to places with lower wages. This helped companies reduce costs and increase profits, but it also weakened job security for workers in developed nations. When local workers must compete with cheaper labor across the world, wages grow slowly. Meanwhile, owners of capital and high-skill workers benefit more from global trade, widening the gap between rich and middle-income households. Technology and automation are another major driver. Machines, robots, and software now perform many routine tasks once done by humans. Middle-skill office jobs, manufacturing roles, and administrative tasks have been replaced or reduced. This does not mean jobs disappear entirely, but the new jobs often require different skills, higher education, or specialized training. Workers who cannot adapt quickly are pushed into lower-paying roles, while high-skill professionals gain more opportunities. This split creates a polarized job market with fewer stable, well-paid middle-class positions. As union membership fell in many countries, workers lost collective strength. Without strong negotiation power, wages grow more slowly and benefits become harder to secure. This shift particularly affects the middle class, who relied on stable, union-supported industries to maintain their standard of living. Policy choices and tax systems also play a major role. In some countries, tax policies have become less redistributive, meaning they help the wealthy more than the middle. Cuts in social programs, reduced support for public education, and rising healthcare costs make life harder for average families. When safety nets weaken, the middle class feels more vulnerable to economic shocks. Now let us look at the global picture. In many advanced economies such as the United States, the United Kingdom, Japan, and parts of Europe, the middle class has been shrinking or stagnating. People feel more at risk of falling behind, even if they technically still fall into middle income ranges. High living costs, insecure jobs, and slow wage growth create a sense that life is moving backward rather than forward. In emerging economies, the story is more mixed. Countries such as China, India, Brazil, Indonesia, and several African nations have seen millions rise out of poverty and enter the middle class for the first time. Urbanization and economic growth have improved living standards dramatically. But this new middle class often faces unstable jobs, weak healthcare systems, and high education costs. They may earn more than before, but they still feel insecure and worry about slipping back into poverty with one major crisis. Even in places where the middle class is expanding, rising inequality makes people feel their gains are limited. A growing number of people say they work harder than ever, but do not see the benefits of national economic growth reaching them. This feeling fuels frustration and disappointment. The shrinking or struggling middle class has deep social and political consequences. When families feel insecure about jobs, education, and retirement, anxiety rises. Parents worry if their children will have a better future. Workers fear being replaced by machines or cheaper labor. This emotional pressure changes how people vote, how they view outsiders, and how they trust institutions. In many countries, the economic squeeze has contributed to the rise of populism and nationalist movements. When people feel left behind, they search for leaders who promise simple solutions to complex problems. Political polarization increases as different groups blame each other for economic stress. Trust in governments, banks, media, and democratic institutions weakens. Many people believe the system is no longer working for them, but only for the wealthy and powerful. If this trend continues, societies may become more unstable. A strong middle class is essential for democracy because it brings balance, moderation, and shared interests. When the middle class weakens, societies become divided into winners and losers. This division creates tension that can last for generations. The important question is whether the middle class can be saved or strengthened. Many experts believe it is possible, but it requires clear policy choices. Stronger labor protections can help workers earn fair wages and maintain stable jobs. Increasing minimum wages and restoring collective bargaining rights can give ordinary workers more power to negotiate. More progressive tax systems can help reduce inequality by ensuring that the wealthy contribute a fair share. Investment in affordable housing, healthcare, and education can reduce the burden on middle-class families. If people can access these basic needs without drowning in debt, they will feel more secure. Governments can also support lifelong learning and job retraining so that workers can adapt to technological change instead of being replaced by it. None of these solutions are simple, but they show that the future is not fixed. The middle class does not have to disappear. Countries can choose to build systems that support ordinary families instead of leaving them to struggle alone. As we reach the end of this documentary, let us repeat one key truth. The middle class built modern economies and democracies. They are the backbone of social stability and national progress. If the middle class continues to shrink, everything built on top of it becomes fragile. Thank you for watching. If this topic matters to you, please like the video, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more documentary-style content. Tell us how life has changed for you or your family in the last 10 to 20 years. Your story can help others understand what the world's middle class is truly facing.